Hello and welcome to Ranked Rambles. Well, I wanted to return to this series and I was going to go with discussions of Pioneer, meta, changes, and all that stuff. But yeah, well, there was something way more significant that happened. We got to talk about there's no Marvel coming to the digital clients on Magic. So, Magic announced that the upcoming Spider-Man Marvel set and any future Marvel sets, plus any sets where acquiring a digital license would be problematic, they are not going to put those cards on the digital clients. They will provide in-universe versions of them through a product called Through the Omen Paths. So instead of Marvel Spider-Man standard set, we will get Through the Omen Paths A or something. I don't even know. They'll have to change the name of the set as well, I just realized. And I've seen some interesting reactions to this. Obviously, there's huge criticism of Wizards, which is deserved. And there's people saying that, oh, I want that in paper too, because I don't want to play Spider-Man. And yeah, go forth. But what I wanted to discuss here is, as a guy that primarily plays the digital clients, because I live fairly remotely and have to drive significant distances to get to a play group, I honestly am kind of sad about this because of the disconnection of the feed through. One of the things I've discussed a lot with guys I play with is what is the progression of a Magic player now? Like prior to Commander's Explosion, when I started playing, because I played pre-Commander Explosion. Commander was a format, it wasn't the main format. I bought a deck, learnt the game playing with my friends. Literally, it was an intro deck, so it was absolutely terrible. It was literally the Jace versus Vraska deck. Learnt how to play, made a deck, then watched some YouTube videos, saw the Rogue deck builder back in the day, showing how to play on Magic Online, downloaded Magic Online, and then tried the extensive different forms of Magic, and that started my journey. I learnt because I watched YouTube content and played with friends and learnt how to play and saw different things. Like I started into Standard and Limited. Then I saw Soul Sisters, which was a really funny deck to me because I really liked the idea of just constantly gaining life. And also it let me play Gideon, who was one of my favourite Planeswalkers when I started. And then I just progressed from there and went forward. The problem I have now is, if you look at the current setup we're going to move into, the primary form of introduction to Commander, calling it Commander over Magic, it makes sense, is Commander. You will see the most prominent forced content online is gameplay of Commander / people talking about Commander. Like, I think the MTG YouTube Commander deck, MTG Goldfish Commander is getting bigger than the main Goldfish channel or something, someone said. And people will see that, and let's say a newer person, say a new player who randomly was searching something for like Tom Holland Spider-Man update, and then sees, what? There's a Magic the Gathering Spider-Man card? Oh, that's cool, let's see what that is. And they see them play with it and go, oh, that's really cool. I want to play. Now, we're not living 10 years ago where people would then go to a place where they could buy Magic cards and buy them and then go. They might do, I'm not going to dismiss that. But a primary reason people will do stuff is they will flip open their phone and be like, oh, there's a Magic the Gathering on Arena app for my phone. Or I've got Steam and I can see Magic Arena in the card game thing. I'll download it, I want to play that Spider-Man. They will not see the Spider-Man. I'm not sure how the searching will go, but I can't imagine that they're going to go into Arena search. Wait, there's no Spider-Man cards. There's no Marvel cards. Oh, it's not on here, I'm not going to bother. So yes, we've got a disconnection of a potential way of feeding players into other formats. Now I'm saying that that's not going to happen with Commander, because those kids will then go and be like, oh, Spider-Man Precon with Venom as the Commander, I'll buy that and I'll play it. And they might then play in store. But I'm saying that they might then transition to online play. They probably won't, because the feed of EDH to other formats is really backwards. Like, you see when I started to see this shift to EDH, I saw a lot of players who played 60 card in competitive formats shift to playing EDH at the same time, which is perfect. But since EDH has become the primary format, I have not seen as many players switch from EDH back to competitive. I mean, I've seen a lot of the players who have started playing EDH in the last few years come to one pre-release, literally think, no, it's not for me, I don't like this, because, you know, they come with the commander mindset of, oh, I don't have to do anything major. Wait, why are you attacking me constantly? Why are you killing all my stuff? They have the casual mindset that Commander fosters, which doesn't really translate well into one-on-one competitive formats. But then a lot of things are going to change moving forward, as Commander is now the primary thing. And one of the things people have said is, how could this have happened? Well, yes, it's going to cause a disconnect between your digital and your paper clients. And one of the things as well is it is pure corporate greed. I will not let Wizards off the hook with this. I will say 100% this is pure corporate greed. They know that they can flock Spider-Man and Marvel products to a bunch of kids and a bunch of other non-players. We've seen this happen with the Fallout decks and the Warhammer decks. I know several new players that actually started playing Commander because Fallout and Warhammer were bought to Magic. They bought those precons, then played, and then started playing, and now have actually started building other Commander decks. Well, a couple of them have. A couple of them have just kind of dropped off because they don't want to update their Tyranid deck, and they really don't come down that much. So, you know, that's the other thing. But so this causes a disconnect between your paper and your digital client. It then causes a disconnect between your competitive paper and your competitive digital. For example, if someone sees a YouTube video of, say, Covert Go Blue, or another prominent standard player like, say, Krim from MTG Goldfish, playing, say, in digital format a card, and they go, oh, that's really cool, I'm going to go buy that card, and then look online and they can't buy that card, they're like, wait, that's Dr. Octopus? Is that Dr. Octopus? You know, it's another barrier to entry of transitioning between the two. So, for example, and this is one which I think is going to be very sad to me, is if someone sees a really cool spoiler card for a paper Spider-Man card and goes, oh, that would be really sick to play in Standard, they might not have that same buzz for generic Arachnid Child. Now, I associate that as well with the notion of the fact that we've had in-universe covers of other cards before. For example, when The Walking Dead came out, which was a clusterfuck that I will not fully go into, they announced several years later there would be universes within cards made, and there have been universes within cards made of them based on Innistrad. And I cannot tell you the names of any of those cards. I have not seen people make commander decks of them. I have not seen the legacy players I know about play those versions. They've played the Walking Dead versions because they bought them when they needed them. But also, from a perspective of a kind of lore and lore standpoint, those cards are just inserted with no mention of them in the story. So there is now, in Innistrad lore, but not true Innistrad lore, there is a psychic child which represents 11 from the Stranger Things secret layer, floating around in Innistrad with really good powers. I don't even remember the name of the card. This is how bad it is. And, you know, the same with the other ones. They're just there with their powers and their abilities, which made great sense for them. For example, the finding clues and making clues because of the investigation nature of their series, suddenly just being thrown on Innistrad and being like, yeah, they're an Inquisitor who does a thing, I think. So there's not as much connective hype there. Now, another thing as well I'm going to say this: the biggest problem with this from Wizards is its corporate greed, but it's corporate greed because of EDH and Commander. And it's going to be very unpopular to say this, but, and I get so much hate in person when I say this, EDH/Commander is the perfect corporate greed format. Now, what do I mean by that? I've got several points to make on this, and I'm sure people are very pissed off hearing these words being said. EDH is the easiest to design for format. All you have to do is discover an existing archetype and find an existing card that's really good, and then power scale it up. You can put a disconnected, unrelated legend that does something totally unique that doesn't synergize with anything in standard, and it will become the chase thing that they want for the sets, and they will open. We've seen this in recent Magic design, where we've shifted away from the big chasey bombs of the format being Planeswalkers, because we did get overloaded on Planeswalkers, yes, but also we couldn't, Wizards couldn't finance them towards EDH players because, Planeswalkers are predominantly weaker in EDH. And the ease of designing Commander is, it's so rare for a designed card in, like, it has to hit a insane, like, Nardu level of broken to get banned in Commander. And that's, Nardu was a mistake, and they've admitted that now. But if you look at things like Tergrid or super powerful, Tergrid is the best example. If you look at Tergrid is a card that was designed with this heinous play pattern for Commander design, but Commander as a format can regulate itself and be like, rule 0, I don't want to play with Tergrid, not going to be a problem. So we've seen that Tergrid has not become a must-ban card for the sake of the format, whereas if it had been designed for standard, it might have become that, because it could have created one-on-one terrible play patterns. So because of the self-regulating nature of Commander, it's perfect for a corporate side where they can just design pushed and powerful stuff that will become chase things, but will also be stuff that they're not going to break the format in half. For example, if they were to print a busted standard card to really push the standard set, you could end up with a situation like Oko, where Oko has to be banned and destroyed. And to that extent, they don't even really need to consider the design or balancing of it. What Wizards can do is, you see it now with the current sets, there's a Mardu precon for Mobilize, and in the main set there's a bunch of Mobilize support. We saw that with the heinous design of the Modern Horizons free cards. There's a bunch of Eldrazi, there's a Commander Eldrazi deck, so here's all of the chase Eldrazi in the main set for your Commander precon. Same with the energy deck. Here's an energy commander, and here's a bunch of energy support cards that you will need for that commander deck. And we saw that happen with Modern Horizons 3, where certain cards, Modern Horizons is a bad example, but we see this now with Talkia Dragonstorm, where a lot of the chased big cards like Elsbeth and other mobilized cards are being chased and sold not for standard, they're being chased for people that want to upgrade their commander deck. So it's perfectly available for corporate side to be like, we can make a solid, easy design commander mechanic, standard commander mechanic which won't push anything, put some busted cards in the precon, and then make cards as you see now with standard design, where we target each player instead of a single player, because that will push the power of the commander deck and make people want to go for it. So that's the design aspect, but the other reason I say that EDH is the perfect corporate greed format is, there's two. There's the secret layers. Wizards pushed out secret layers, and I remember when secret layers were launched, everyone was like, this is the end of the game store, we're just going to see players go straight for this, they're going to just start pushing more and more cards. And yes, we've seen so many secret layers, it's actually laughable. But all Wizards has to do, as I've said before, is just print Commander staples and, and chase fancy legend. There's a reason why one of the first secret layers was a 5-color, crazy thing. And it was literally the Sliver, the Dragon, and the other one. The most played tribal 5-color decks. And we're just like, here's the secret layer that you'll buy. And the justification is from Wizards is that, we're not, facilitating a bad environment for game stores. Game stores can buy and sell their standard decks and, stuff like that. Because they can then just look at, literally go, what is the most played Commander cards? Okay, we'll tie a theme together with literally dental floss, because it's flimsy, give a fancy artist to give it the sickest treatment you can imagine, and then we'll put them into a secret layer, and people will buy it. And from what I've seen of the resale market, it appears that if you look at secret layer resales, based on the numbers that are actually sold, there's not a huge resale demand for a lot of these cards. There are some people that grade certain cards and then try to ship them for super high, probably capitalizing on the craze for Pokemon. But if you look at primarily, one of the main reasons I say this is I want the fancy Felidar Guardian for one of my Commander decks. I am part of the problem as well. If you look online, there's not a huge amount of people reselling that, because most of the people that bought that wanted it for a deck. So it's direct insertion, direct sales of a direct product. And it's easy enough to do based on the data we have of Commander. Finally, the big reason I think as well that EDH is the perfect corporate greed format is there doesn't need to be a focus on a competitive nature. They can literally design stupid fun cards, maybe push it a little bit, or maybe make the next version of something better. But all you have to do to design it for competitive nature is look at a format and go, okay, let's focus on this, or let's add, let's make a random card. For example, we'll go to Ether Drift here. We're going to make one of the random legends from Ether Drift be a card that doubles artifacts. Thematically, it works because he is a robot, and it has the max speed mechanic. But let's be real, this is designed for people in Commander who want to cast the Soul Ring and copy a Soul Ring. Because, it might see play somewhere else. But it is, as I said before, if you look at the rest of those mechanics where it's like affinity based on artifacts you have, casting artifacts, there was not enough artifact support in Standard to facilitate a deck like that. But there sure as hell was enough in Commander. And again, even if that is really strong, it will be policed by the format itself, with players going, yeah, dude, your max speed robot copying deck is sick, it's really good, but I can't play it with the deck I've got here. I'm just going to switch to one of my stronger decks to probably match up against it. So there's no need to police the format constantly, to look at the potential of bans, to see the design space and be like, wait a minute, if we design Shieldred Mark 5, will that combo with random card B that cares about extra card draw? We should look into that, because we've seen before Wizards has trouble with that. Felidar Guardian Saheeli is literally the epitome of that. Another final point I will make, because it still ties to the original one about balancing and competitive nature, is EDH is the perfect corporate greed tournament support event creation. We see it with Command Fest. Wizards went from having to have so basically to put on a Command Fest, they need a venue hall, vendors, a couple of YouTube celebrities who were invited to do panels or whatever, / maybe they're supported, I don't know. and then just a huge space for people to just sit down and play Commander. Compare that to Pro Tour previous design, where it was a venue, a series of judges, tournament organizers. You have to have support on how to deploy brackets. You have to have streaming for the top tables. You have to have complex prize support. You have to have other matters as well. Compare the two of them in a corporate greed sense, and there's one which is clearly, oh wait, we just literally have to open a room and be like, go in there, Commander players, and play your games, but give us $60 to come in through the door. And yeah, it's very obvious. Now, as I've said, probably should have prefaced at the start, I love Commander. It's a really fun format for me. It's one I play most in paper because there is no other option, honestly, now. But I do love playing it. I love having crazy interactions. I love the store where I play at. But yeah, it's really sad to me, basically, that this is happening with the Spider-Man set. And I'm voicing this opinion because, I mean, I'm shouting into the void here as a small content creator, but we have to voice this opinion now, because right now Wizards has Final Fantasy and the other set, Last Airbender, coming. I think that this is their test the water set, and this is what I'm saying by this is Wizards are going to float this idea of, hey guys, we haven't got the license for Spider-Man, so there's going to be a disconnect. And if there's not significant in the sense of let's go crazy on Twitter like we did with the Commander bans, but if there is not a significant like pushback or feel of this, like hey guys, maybe this isn't the best idea, this doesn't feed well for your optics, I don't know. Obviously people say vote with your wallet, but let's be real, this set is gonna sell like wildfire because it's Marvel and it's a universes beyond. But yes, that is my 2 cents on this ranked ramble. Wow, we went for over 20 minutes. So yes, ultimately my argument here is it's really sad that Spider-Man is not coming to the digital clients. I think it disconnects the potential feed of a EDH player to potential standard player. But I understand that it is primarily purely because that it's corporate greed and it's incentivizing the support of the corporate greed Commander format. That's not a criticism of Commander as a format. I'm just saying that you've created a perfectly fun casual format which can be easily corrupted with corporate greed because it's really easy for them to make money from this format. Anywho, let me think what you know or whatever.